Hello from Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1, the OG terminal when you arrive and leave Metro Manila. My partner and I are bound for Bali via Philippine Airlines. It is around 4:55 p.m. and we are now checking in for our 7:55 p.m. flight. It's always standard here in the Philippines to check in at least 3 hours before your departure just so that it ensures that you go through security and immigration in a timely manner and you won't get left by your aircraft. But being that we are in Terminal 1 today, it is relatively light and my partner and I were able to breeze through security and immigrations in no time. We ended up in Starbucks because my Dragon Pass isn't working with any of the lounges in Terminal 1. So I only found out right now that I'm only allowed to use one lounge and it's located in Terminal 3. So if you do have a Dragon Pass, which was issued by Union Bank of the Philippines, do take note of this because it kind of like limits the lounges that you can use in the airport. We didn't want to pay to use any of the lounges in the airport today, mainly because it was very crowded and it turned out to be quite pleasant here in Starbucks. Like, we just enjoyed our ham and cheese sandwich, a cup of coffee while enjoying seeing the planes going in and out of the tarmac in front of us. As you can see outside the window, we have a very stormy weather condition today, but so far there have been no announcements for delays nor cancellations, so I'm crossing my fingers. It is now around 6:45 in the afternoon and my partner and I decided to head to our gate. Boarding is scheduled to be at 7:10 in the evening. Boarding gate 9 is located on the west wing of the departures area of Ninoy Aquino International Terminal 1 and it is located right after the Marhaba Lounge. By the way, if you are flying in or out of the Philippines via Philippine Airlines, you will end up using NAIA Terminal 1 as your gateway. Now, you need to walk down the stairs to get to gate number 9, but if you have mobility issues, do not worry. There will be airport personnel who will help you to get to your gate. And here's my aircraft, PR537 and Airbus A321-200. Boarding started as scheduled, which was quite a surprise given the weather conditions outside. We don't have any storm signals hoisted today, but it has been very cloudy and torrential. It actually took my partner and I an hour to get to the airport, where normally it would only take us about 25 minutes to 30 minutes to actually get here. Now for this route, I am flying on an Airbus A321-200 CEO, the current engine option, and I have noticed that this is the usual aircraft type that Philippine Airlines flies for short-haul international routes. Now, this aircraft has 3 classes on it. You have a business class, premium economy, and my class economy. Now, I am seated on 42J, a middle seat. It is actually a little bit tight, but it's still comfortable, especially for my height. I stand at 5 feet 8.5 inches tall, so I'm actually still able to move my feet around. Now, for this aircraft type, your life vest is located under your seat, so make sure not to remove this from your flight, okay? My seat comes with an adjustable headrest, which I appreciate because it's going to prove useful if I do decide to take a nap. Now, my partner is on 42H, which is an aisle seat. Now, we actually had to pay a little bit extra because all of the aisle seats on flights on Philippine Airlines are not free. Now, for this flight, we had to pay around 576 pesos or $10 to choose this seat. Now, the window seat beside me, 42K, which has more legroom and no seat in front of it, costs a little bit over 2,600 pesos to book. In typical Philippine Airlines fashion, especially with their older aircrafts, there is no individual entertainment system nor charging ports. At least there are individual air vents to help regulate temperature throughout the flight. This flight was substantially full, premium economy and business class were full. We were scheduled to depart at 7:55 p.m., but at this point we are still at the gate. It was then announced that our flight was going to be a little bit delayed due to the weather. Super Typhoon Karina, although far from the landmass of Luzon here in the Philippines, is actually enhancing the southwest monsoon, bringing in so much rain. Too much rain, actually. Now, by 8:15 p.m., I noticed that we were pushed back from the gate and the aircraft started its initial crawl into the departure runway. Now, I can also see from my seat that a lot of the aircrafts were landing at this point, and I believe the airport was actually prioritizing a lot of the incoming flights because they might have been hovering for quite some time trying to find a break in the clouds and just to land safely into Manila. So I totally understand why we had a long wait on the tarmac. Now, while waiting for departure, I've managed to bring up the seat map of this aircraft from seatguru.com so that you guys can have an idea, or you can see where I am seated at on the plane. And I do have to say, my seat and my partner's seat, 42H and 42J, is actually a good seat to sit on this plane. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but there are actually only three lavatories on this aircraft. One will service the business class, and then two will service the entire economy class, plus the premium economy class, and it's all located at the very back on the airplane. So I do have to say that this is also one of the downsides of this aircraft. And finally, a little bit over an hour after our original time of departure, it was our time to finally hit the skies. To distract myself from the air turbulence, I decided to check out the streaming entertainment system of PAL. After connecting to the in-flight Wi-Fi, I scanned the QR code on the flyer and I got connected. This is my first time trying this, and I have to say it's not bad. There are a modest number of films, TV shows, games, music, etc. to choose from, which kind of works, especially for short-haul international routes. Now, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that this streaming entertainment system also had a route map on it. It also shows the distance to the destination, altitude, and speed at real time. I absolutely loved it. As soon as we hit altitude, I dashed to the bathroom for a toilet break because I have been holding it in for at least an hour. I really needed to go. Now, the lavatory at the back of the plane is tight, but you're still able to move around to do your business. It is clean and it remained clean the entire flight. Now, everything that you see inside the lavatory are the typical amenities that you'd get when you fly economy on Philippine Airlines. An hour after takeoff, I noticed that dinner was being served and I decided to check my tray table, and I do have to say that it's actually in good condition. Now, the only thing I didn't like about it is that it was a little bit off center from me. It was a little bit to my left, which made eating a little bit uncomfortable, and I found that I had to constantly angle myself so that I could actually eat comfortably. And here's dinner. The main course is chicken barbecue with some steamed veggies and rice. This is the typical Philippine Airlines fare when a flight is being catered out of Manila. There's also some bread, a vinegared pasta, some butter, and dried pineapples from my hometown, Cebu. I paired all of these with some Sprite and water. Now, the pasta was good. The main dish was a little dry, but thank God for the bread because it made me so full. I was already very hungry at this point of the video. We are now flying over Brunei, the halfway point of this journey, and it was getting a little bit turbulent. So to distract myself, I decided to watch Madame Web, which turned out to be quite Meh. Now, my only complaint about watching entertainment through my mobile device is that it was eating up on my battery and I was not able to charge up my phone. Although I do have a battery pack with me, but I would prefer to use that when I'm actually traveling and when I'm not sitting inside an airplane because, after all, if I'm flying on an airplane, I should be able to charge my mobile device, especially if I am watching entertainment through it. Overall, the flight was actually pleasant despite some turbulence here and there. Now, hands down, the crew, they were amazing. They were very pleasant. They were very warm and attentive, and I really appreciate that. I do hope, though, that in the future, Philippine Airlines will upgrade their cabins, especially on their older aircrafts, like, let's say, have individual entertainment systems, have charging ports, or even, have one more lavatory in the economy class, because it's just going to make the flying experience much more pleasurable. And it's going to make me feel like I'm flying a legacy airline because right now, to a certain degree, I feel like I'm flying on a budget airline. At this point, we're now on our final approach into Denpasar, but before we land, let me talk to you guys about my ticket. Now, this journey of ours is a rewards ticket. I used my air miles and I paid 30,000 air miles per person for each ticket. Plus, I paid a total of 12,000 pesos for both our tickets in terms of taxes and services. And finally, we have landed in Bali, Indonesia. It is almost 1 in the morning and we are quite exhausted. It has been a long day, but we're actually very excited that we are here right now. Alright, so I'm gonna let you guys go now. If you have any more questions about my flight on Philippine Airlines from Manila to Bali, please let me know down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. Alright, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for flying with us. And I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are.
Hi.
Bye.